role of networking in business according to you, why it's important in today's world, and how can one optimally utilize it?
This is one of my favorite questions, actually. So the way I'll answer this is by telling, let me take you back to, when I started, I was in college actually when I started going to my father's business. My father had a textile business in Ahmedabad. And I was a part of, I said, let me get trained. And so I started going in. Now, unfortunately, the business didn't do very well and we shut it down. We were close to bankruptcy, actually, let's put it this way. So my father went and found a job. He was a professional and he was engaged with, as the CEO of companies. And that's what he was fabulous at. And that was different from being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he kind of, didn't do well. So long story short, didn't do well. It shut down and I was left with nothing. I mean, literally, we had a business and I hadn't qualified myself. So I was left with that business. That's the time when a couple of people stepped up. So I said, what do I do next? So the first person who came to help me was a friend of mine. We met in college and we got together. So we started importing, exporting stuff, got involved in that and started it like that. The next person who came to my help was a relative from my father's side. So they helped me, so I started doing the distribution, started working on the distribution network in Gujarat at that time. And so that was one way of doing it. The third person who came at that time who could be of help to me or said that, I could join them, was my father's friend who was into businesses. He had a floppy diskette manufacturing plant in Seep, Sandheri. And at that time, people didn't know where floppy diskettes are put. And that's when I started working on that. And finally, the fourth person who came to help me was actually my grandfather, who had an existing business. Now, if you look at it, all of these were different networks. If you think about it, my father's friend, that's my extended network. My friend, that's my network. A relative, that's a relative's network. Okay. And finally, so there were different networks at play, which I probably did not recognize at that time. And they helped me get set again, tried my hands at a lot of businesses. That's why I call myself as a serial entrepreneur, kept setting up businesses. I'm a core marketing and sales person. I love that. And so, wherever that was involved, it was fun to do that. So networking is very, very important, according to me, because if even you imagine where you are today, and if you start thinking, you'll recognize a lot of people who've come in your journey, which has helped you get to where you are or why you're doing what you're doing today. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with me, most of you? So either if you're in your family business, मतलब कि किसी और ने चालू किया था, you joined it. Or if you're in a business because someone you met said that, what, I'm going through this course, why don't you try it? You probably joined that course along with that person and then that became your line of working. Or for that matter, you were in engineering college or you were in a college and people, a lot of people came around, asked you, what are you doing next or what? So you started joining them for doing that. And so networking is very important based on also where we are. And we are here because of that. But more importantly, networking is what can take you where you want to go. Because that's where you consciously kind of meet the people whom you would like to connect with to take you to where you want to go. Okay. So what's the difference between socializing and networking? That's something. So everybody is a networker. In India, at least everybody is. Idhar shaadi hoti hai to 1000 log aate hain ek shaadi mein. You're a networker, right?
Right.
Probably not. So what's the difference between socializing and networking? Let me explain it with that same example of going to a wedding. So let's say it's your relative's wedding where you're playing a role of being there for every function. You're not involved in organizing it too much, but maybe attending everything. Otherwise, people get, offended that you haven't attended it, right? And so you're going to all these functions, right? And over there, there are 1,000 people invited. Now, you know some, you don't know some, right? Now, when you go to this function, it's socializing. But let's say you're at the reception and you're talking to people and you're saying, hey, hi, what do you do? and you're exchanging and you get to know people. And you decide to spend your whole reception and your dinner at the reception with those 2 or 3 people who you know you want to start a relationship and would probably like to take it ahead based on your introduction with them. You've suddenly gone from socializing to networking. And I hope you've understood the difference between the two. Okay, so networking by definition is meeting a lot of people to find a few who you would like to build stronger relationships with, because they are going to help you meet or reach your vision of your life or your goals or targets. So it's a much more thought out activity compared to socializing. So it's up to us to convert socializing to networking everywhere we go, by connecting, finding those people that you think you need to build your connection with, because that's going to take you to the next level.
Right.
So that's a way of networking which I like. I find it easier for people to connect with.